Welcome to another tutorial. So in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to create that lace motion graphics using CAPCUT. So before we move further, if you're new to my channel, please hit that like button and subscribe. So the first step we're going to do is to create the animations of the color, which I had already done for the blue. So I'm just going to show you the steps I did using the yellow color. So you drag down your darker color, your dark yellow color into the timeline, and you increase the size, and you go ahead and you do the same for the next color, increasing the size. You can just follow exactly the numbers that I did in the tutorial. So you make it lesser, you make the number lesser than the darker color that you used earlier. So I'm going to follow this procedure by reducing the size and layering the circles. So the resources that I use for the graphics are in the description below. So just click the description below to have access to the colors and the resources that I use for the video. So the next step we're going to do is to take 8 spaces and then add a keyframe to all our colors. So I took 8, I went 8, counted 8, and I'm adding a keyframe to all the colors. So the next step, I'm going to go to the beginning of the video and add a keyframe and drag their scale down to a 0. So I'm going to do that for all the colors. Go to the beginning of the keyframe and add another keyframe and make the scale a 0. So that's going to make it go from a decrease to an increase. So after that, I'm going to work with keyframes, the keyframe animation, by opening up the tab and putting an auto curve and auto keyframe. So that's going to make the animation smooth. And to also make the animation align, I'm going to count 2 spaces and adjust each color to that space. So in the first one, I'm going to count 2 spaces, then adjust the next one, count 2 spaces and adjust the next one. And at the end, you should have a wonderful color animation. So next we're going to work with our lace chips. So the first step is to bring in the lace chips, remove the background and add the effect. So the effect I went with is a shake 2. And I do that for the rest of the chips. So next up, we are going to open Photoshop to cut out our chips. So the first thing we're going to do is click on the lasso tool. So this is going to help us highlight our chips. And once we click on it, we're going to press Ctrl J, which will cause the chips to go to a new layer. So just like that, we click on the chips, highlight it with lasso tool and press Ctrl J. And what I want to do next is to increase the opacity, which would make the color of the chips darker. So, and I go ahead and I do the same for the rest of the chips. So, and I export each chip by clicking on Shift Control Alternate S. So this will help me to save all chips. So I go ahead and I do the same for the onions, and I do the same for the spring onions. And then I bring all our cutout items into CAPCUT, because now we want to make the chips to have a falling effect. So I have already arranged my chips to my desired position. I dragged all my separated chips to the timeline and arrange them in a desired position. So I'm doing the same for the spring onions. So just watch along. So after that, I make it into a compound clip so that I'll be able to add keyframe and create the falling animation. So I'm going to add a keyframe in the beginning and drag the chips upward. So if you notice, it's going to give a falling effect. So I'm going to just add keyframes in the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. So it's going to give me that falling effect. So just watch along as I adjust the keyframes. So next up, I went ahead to the keyframe animation to make the animation smooth. I also clicked the keyframe auto keyframe. So this is going to just make the animation really smooth. So if you want to make your chips fall longer, what you need to do is duplicate that edited one and place it just when the chips is about to leave the frame. So it's going to give you an effect of your chips falling longer. So next up, we're going to bring our exported clip, because we exported our falling chips, and we're going to bring it into CAPCUT, and then we remove the green screen with the chroma key. And now I want to create an animation of it falling, then having a slow-mo, then it continues falling than just falling straight up. So I'm going to do that by going to the speed. So I'm going to click on curve and click on bullet. So I'm just going to delete some of the parts I don't need. I'll drag that to the end, and I'm going to do away with the part that I don't need by deleting it. Clicking the hyphen that is below, delete that out. I do the same for the bottom, delete it out, and I drag that under. So it's going to give me that slow motion effect in as the chips are falling. So it's going to give me, yes, exactly like that. That's smooth slow. So I'm going to do the rest for the rest of the chips. So the next one is to separate our lace motion. So I'm going to come back to Photoshop, the same procedure that I used for the onions and the chips. I'm going to do that by clicking on the lace, putting it to a plain background, separating the text from the body. So you see me doing that here. Just going to press Ctrl X, so that will help me to be able to cut it out and paste it into a new layer. So now what I want to do next is to fill up this empty layer with the color red. So I can fill it up by going to the edit bar and click on fill, or I can just press F5, and then I'm going to use the brush tool to make the color red, to spread the red colors around as I am doing. So once I do that, I am going to separate the red layer from the yellow layer, and I will do the same thing for the yellow layer. So we have separate layers which we can bring it to CAPCUT and edit separately. So for this part of the tutorial, I'm just going to arrange the lace animation. So I've already put them on my timeline, and the effect I used under the animation is a rebounding, so it's going to give it that flying effect. So I'm just going to lay it and arrange it into the center, give it a rebound effect, and that's there I have my animation. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, and if you have any question, please just drop it in the comment section. Until next time.